Thank you. I'm Jean Martin Bauer, the Director of Food Security and Nutrition Analysis at WFP. Thank you for having us today. I'd like to walk you through in a couple of minutes through the highlights of the IPC alert on Gaza. The previous IPC analysis was done in May 2025, and what it said was that there was a risk of famine for the Gaza Strip. Since May, the situation for food security and nutrition has gotten a lot worse. What the data tells us is that 2 of the 3 indicators that we monitor have breached famine thresholds. The 3 indicators that we look at include, number 1, household food deficits, number 2, global acute malnutrition, and number 3, mortality. For household food deficits, those have been above famine thresholds for a long time in many parts of Gaza, but the situation has gotten worse in the past few months. Today, we've got over 33% of the population that goes an entire day without having access to any food. For malnutrition, the levels of global acute malnutrition have quadrupled in Gaza City between May and July. So for 2 of the 3 indicators, we're above famine thresholds, which indicates how serious the situation has gotten. Now, a famine is emerging in Gaza, and that requires action from us all. I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Ross, Director of Emergencies at this stage.
Great. Thank you, Jean Martin. And thanks, Farhan, for the introduction. Just to say, I'll say a few words here, and happy Jean Martin and I can take some questions. Just to say that since we last briefed, we have seen the introduction of these humanitarian pauses since Sunday. We certainly, from the WFP perspective, welcome these pauses, but as was said in the opening, we are not yet getting the volumes of food and other relief supplies that we need inside Gaza. Since Sunday, we've only been able to move approximately half of what we've requested to move. And because people are desperate and the situation on the ground is such that crowds are swarming convoys of relief supplies, we're not able to do the proper distributions that we want. I will also highlight here that we continue every day to see casualty incidents as live fire is directed at crowds. We need much faster facilitation of our work inside Gaza in a way that's safe for civilians and for our staff. And by that, I mean faster clearances, faster approvals for humanitarian convoys and for trucks, and it means that the IDF should not be present near humanitarian convoys or distribution points. We do need a surge of humanitarian relief supplies. This is not just food, of course. Given the acute malnutrition situation, we need medicine, health supplies, water, specialized nutrition products, and we need these now. We need sustained action on the ground. This is not a 1 day or a 1 week sort of thing that's required. We are requesting to restart the bakeries and restart community kitchens. These will go a long way to alleviate the crowding and provide basic and reliable relief for families in Gaza. And I will say, just on closing, that we continue to emphasize the need for a ceasefire so that we have the conditions that we need to operate at scale. Thank you. Back to you in the room.
Now open the floor for questions. Please, Evelyn.
Greetings. Thank you very much for the briefing. I'm Evelyn Leopold from the Dag Hammarskjöld Fund for Journalists. I welcome you on behalf of the UN Correspondents Association. I have 2 questions. The first is, are you getting fuel in, which is very necessary for what you're doing? And secondly, are cartels operating on the edge of this, either purchasing or selling? Thank you.
Just to confirm that, thanks for the questions, Evelyn. To confirm that we are getting some fuel in, and I will also note that we are getting some supplies for staff, which has been quite critical, and I think also was noted here that the situation for our staff and partners is also quite critical. We are seeing the looting incidents around our convoys is primarily civilians. These are desperate crowds of civilians, and it has been reported previously, I think earlier this week or over the weekend, we do not have evidence of large-scale looting by cartels or gangs, etc. We are aware of where the gangs operate, And this is one of the reasons we're asking for fast approvals and the ability to choose our routes that we operate within Gaza, so we can choose our locations and choose our movements, and we can avoid the situations we don't want to be in.
Thank you, Daji, please.
Yes, Shudeji with China Central Television. Also, two questions. First, we know that it's deteriorating. The situation in Gaza is deteriorating. Even there's this pause. You just mentioned the situation is still very bad. What do you project the trend would be if there's no ceasefire or just continue to have like this small scale pause? Would the situation be even worse? And how to turn the situation over in a quick manner? Thank you.
So I'll take that, and hopefully Ross could add on if needed. What we have known in Gaza since the start of this crisis is that when the World Food Program and humanitarian agencies have the ability to deliver assistance, the situation gets a lot better. So if we get a pause, we would expect these indicators to improve. We would expect things to evolve in the right direction. Now, if this doesn't happen, what you're seeing is that you'd have a famine would be confirmed, and it would cover more areas. Just to give you a sense of the numbers, just 20,000 children have been admitted for treatment for acute malnutrition between April and mid-July, and 3,000 of them were acutely malnourished. You would see more children be malnourished. You would see additional mortality. The situation right now is a famine, which is extremely rare. I will tell you that since the IPC system has existed, there have only been 4 famines in this century. So that's been Somalia in 2011, South Sudan twice, and then Sudan, which is also ongoing now. So this tells you that these are very rare, very serious events, and we need to respond now at scale, as my colleagues have insisted.
Thank you so much. Mike, please.
Thank you. Mike Wagenheim from I-24 News. Thanks for taking the time to do this briefing today. As I mentioned to Farhan earlier, there have been issues with IPC reports throughout the war with projections of famine that were retroactively revised and dramatically downgraded. There was an issue with IPC data, which the IPC's own review committee pointed out was woefully mistaken in terms of the amount of aid that was going in. Meanwhile, folks like your boss, Cindy McCain, ran with that data when she told a media outlet last year that there was a full-blown famine in northern Gaza when there obviously wasn't one at the time, according to what you're saying now. So the question is, why should this particular alert that went out from the IPC carry the weight that you're giving it based on the faulty data that's been used in the past and based on the projections of famine that were dramatically downgraded months later?
So, Mike, thank you for the question. The report you're referring to, I believe, is a FuseNet report that was issued in December of last year. Mike, there was no IPC report that was ever retracted. That did not take place. The projections that you have in the IPC report, they incorporate some uncertainty. Things change very rapidly on the ground as to whether there's a pause. When there's a pause, as I said earlier, the situation gets a lot better. When WFP is able to carry out distributions of food and bring the assistance, the situation improves for the majority of the population. So what I'm trying to say here is that the data that we have, and this is evidence, this is robust data that has been collected recently, and that's corroborated and well explained in the report that you've received, shows that we're in a situation of a huge concern. We're in a situation of an emerging famine. And again, you have the IPC, you've got what we're seeing on our TV screens, and this is analysis that we hope will prompt action to better respond to this crisis.
Please.
Yes, thank you very much. from France 24 today. Ross, you mentioned the alleviation of some of the problems because of these short ceasefire or pauses in the fighting. We've seen all sorts of reports. Fingers are pointing in all directions that so many trucks, thousands, are getting into Gaza, but not being distributed. What in your mind is the roadblock? Is it the Gaza Humanitarian Fund not shifting it over to the UN not being given passes by Israel? What's stopping the food that is there from getting to people? Thanks.
Okay.
Now.
I'll take
now,
that. I think
now,
we've got a lot of echo on the line here. I missed the first part of the question as well, but I think I got
We're not here. 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 We're not here.
Oh, we can't hear you, colleagues.
I'll try again. Can you hear me now? We seem to have an issue with the sound in the room. I'll try again if this was working. If you can confirm you can hear me, a thumbs up even. Okay, very good. I missed the first part of the question, but I think I got most of it from France 24. Just to indicate that indeed we have more than 2 months worth of supplies for food assistance positioned outside of Gaza, so at the borders, at the crossing points, and upstream of that. And our requests, as I indicated at the top, that we're only getting 50% of what we're requesting to move in since Sunday. This would be, we're requesting at least 100 trucks per day for WFP assistance, and we also facilitate assistance for other partners as well. And we're only getting half of that. So we do not have thousands of trucks inside Gaza. We have thousands of trucks positioned outside of Gaza. What we need is rapid and facilitation of these movements so that they can cross the borders, cross through the crossing points, and arrive at their final destination. And until we get a surge of this assistance going in, we're not going to be able to alleviate the desperation, which is causing the crowding, which is causing the incidents that are there. So that's what we're asking for is for faster clearances, faster approvals, facilitation of our staff, and no live fire, no IDF presence near these convoys and near these distribution sites.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pam. Mike, please.
Just a follow-up here, in terms of cooperation with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. I know the UN has laid down its parameters to ensure on its end that any aid delivery is complying with its own humanitarian requirements. Is there any room at this given moment for any type of cooperation with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, given the significance of the situation in Gaza? And if so, where does that opening lie? And before you answer that, I just wanted to clear something up earlier. I never referred to any retracted report. I referred to revised projections, not a retracted report. I think that's where the confusion came in. But in any case, if you can answer the question, I greatly appreciate it.
Okay, I'll try here. I got the last part of the question, but I think I've got all of it. Just to say that, yeah, indeed. I mean, as I've indicated before, and I think we've had news statements before. WFP talks to all potential partners. We have indeed spoken with at operational level with GHF. We do not have an operational partnership with GHF. They have a different model than we have. We can work in parallel. We need all actors on board to provide support inside Gaza. We are calling for many distribution points. During the last ceasefire, we had more than 400 distribution points to reach people where they are. There are many people that are vulnerable, that are old, that have disabilities, for example, and they cannot move all around Gaza Strip to access 4 distribution sites. So this is one of the things when I speak about the model is our ability to access people where they are and to reach them in a safe and dignified manner where they're not put at risk. And that is what we are committed to. It's what we have the experience to do, and we are ready to do at scale if we are allowed to do it.
A question online. Abdul Hamid, please go ahead.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. My question about the aid coming from Egypt, can you explain how it gets to Gaza and what is the volume of the aid coming from Egypt? Is it through Rafah crossing or through other crossings? And also if you can explain about the volume of aid coming through airdrops, and is it safe, as the Foreign Secretary of England just said, he said we would make sure it is safe. So what do you tell us about the airdropping aid? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abdul Hamid. I don't have all the specifics on the assistance that's coming from Egypt since that was allowed 3 or 4 days ago. We do know that there have been some movements from the Egyptian Red Crescent, as you say, through the Rafah crossing. And certainly it's important for us, and we're advocating for the ability to use this crossing because many humanitarian partners have humanitarian supplies positioned in that Egypt corridor. On airdrops, I will only refer back to what you've seen in the press. I know that it's certainly been proposed and ongoing from different parties at the moment. We do think that it is highly risky in a densely populated zone, and we have seen those reports of injuries associated with that. In addition, I would say it is clearly no substitute for overland transport. We're talking about the need for hundreds of truckloads of humanitarian relief to move into Gaza every single day. During the last ceasefire, WFP alone had more than 200 per day, and we know that to meet all of the needs across the humanitarian spectrum, we're talking closer to 500 trucks per day that's required, and so simply that cannot be done by air.
Thank you so much. Do we have any further questions in the room? Do we have any questions online? I don't think so. So if that's it, I want to say thank you so much again for our guests. Jean Martin Bauer, the WFP Director of Food Security and Nutrition Assessments, and also Ross Smith, WFP Director of Emergencies. Thanks so much for your patience in waiting for the briefing today and also for your time. So much, everyone. I'm going to leave you now with Sharon, who is the spokesperson for the President of the General Assembly. She's going to brief you. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. So just a few notes. I'm going to make this very short. The President of the UN General Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Philemon Yang, commends France and Saudi Arabia for co-chairing the high-level conference on the peaceful settlement of the question on Palestine and the two-state solution. He also expresses his gratitude to the co-chairs of the 8 working groups for their contribution to the conference. In his opening remarks yesterday, the President stated that a conference is needed more than ever and must lead a decisive change of direction. The focus of this conference, he says, must be concrete and action-oriented, identifying steps the international community must take to realize the two-state solution. On another note, at the end of the week, the President will hold an informal meeting of the General Assembly for the UN Secretary General to present a report on the Mandate Implementation Review, part of the UN 80 initiative. This will take place on the 1st of August. With regard to the President's travel, the President will travel to Turkmenistan to attend the 3rd UN Conference on Landlocked Developing Countries, which will be held from the 5th to the 8th of August. And just looking ahead, we have shared the provisional list of speakers with you for the general debates at the 80th session. We will also share the dates of the meetings that will take place during the high-level week with you in due course. And lastly, a reminder that the deadline for media accreditation for UNGA 80 is the 29th of August. And that's it from my side. Are there any questions? If there are no questions on the floor, online. Okay, fantastic. Everyone enjoy your afternoon.